Every day is Christmas at my house. Hello, you delicate little potatoes. It is just getting ready to go to hit 1 o'clock here on the 5th of November, 2024. If you guys can hear me okay, would you let me know in the comments? Dakota Fisher, man. Yeah, so over my shoulder, you guys can see the year-round Christmas stocking that hangs there. That's a staple in my household. Every like, share, and comment helps, guys, especially with this storm. For people that choose not to be informed, there could be potentially significant impacts, and I'll highlight all the details for you. This might take a little bit longer than usual, so please bear with me. And also keep in mind, I will record this in its entirety, and I will post it afterwards so that you guys can go back and reference any information. But also, more importantly, if you're not able to catch the live version of this video, you can always go back and look at the recorded version later. Loud and clear, heard. Awesome. Awesome. Haley can hear me. Beautiful. Amaret is hoping Schnur in Southeast Wyoming. I'll let you guys know all of the details. I wanted to show you real quick what this storm system looks like on the satellite image. And if you guys can see my cursor right here, this is Colorado for you geographically challenged little chicken nuggets. And notice these gravity waves here along the foothills. This is so damn cool. So the atmosphere desires balance at all times, perfect harmony. And when you disrupt this balance, imagine at sunset, you're standing at a pond and it's clear, it's flat. You look like you could go out and walk on the water. And then imagine you take a flat rock and you skip it across the pond. What happens? Well, you break the balance, you add an imbalance, and the ripples bleed out. The same thing happens in the atmosphere. When you aim a bunch of energy at the mountains, it's like skipping rocks across a pond in the atmosphere. You know, there's very turbulent air and eddies going on as the air is coming over the top of the mountains, 14,000 feet. And so you get these cool little gravity waves that develop almost in straight lines like cornrows or corrugates if you're a farmer. And it's just really, really cool to see on a satellite image. But even above the foothills, look at this mountain wave. This is due to downsloping. It's like the clouds aloft hit a wall and they just disappear. That's because as they come over the mountain peaks, you force air down onto a lower plane, you compress that air, you warm it up, and you dry it out. So it almost looks as if the clouds are hitting an invisible barrier right here and they just can't go any further. It's so damn cool. Science is so cool when you understand it. So in this satellite image, here's our storm. This is not a hypothetical. You can literally see it on the freaking satellite image. Here it is, right here. This is the storm that's been giving me fits for the last 3 days, trying to figure out what the hell is going to happen. So I'm going to walk you through all of it. But the center of low pressure is here in Montana, coming out of southern Canada. And what it's going to do is it's going to beeline south along the spine of the Rockies. And out ahead of it, we're going to get the cold front. So the cold front is moving into southern Wyoming as we speak. The Northwest Plateau here in Colorado, it's moving across the western slope. And the reason why I know that is because it's snowing on Vail Pass. Vail Pass be Vail passing, right? So the roads are wet right now. I don't know how long that's going to last. So if you need to get somewhere and you haven't already started and you don't have a helicopter, good luck. Godspeed. But yeah, this is going to make our weather really spicy for the next 3 to 4 days. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. So if you're just joining me, a lot of new people have joined the page over the last 4 to 5 days, and I'm so grateful for that. So hi, welcome if you're new. My name is Cody Wilson. I am the founder, creator, and CEO of Denver and Front Range Weather via KBW LLC. I'm a 2012 graduate of the University of Northern Colorado, SCO Bears. I have a bachelor's degree in earth sciences with an emphasis in meteorology, and I have been running this page full time for almost 5 years now, and that is thanks in part to the amazing generosity of local business sponsors. So I'm going to pay the bills here real quick. Please bear with me. My local business sponsors, in line with people who subscribe and donate, are the reason why you get access to this for free. So just bear with me for a second. And I just want to say thanks to all of my amazing sponsors who support my work and have been doing so selflessly. Some of them you see on the screen have been doing it for years. You know, like Brian Friend with Just Roofs and Gutters. It's veteran owned, by the way. A great roofing company in southern Colorado, but they do go all the way up to the Denver metro. So if you're looking for a great roofer in southern Colorado, along and east of the Front Range, I mean, Brian's your guy at Just Roofs and Gutters, one of the nicest guys I've ever met, and he's a veteran. You get a great local roofing company, and it's veteran owned. I can't imagine a better scenario there. Denver Jewelers, Steve, is also a veteran, and it's also a veteran-owned company in Denver. So if you're looking for a jeweler in the Denver metro area, Steve's been supporting my page for years now, and it's veteran-owned. Again, win-win situation, can't lose. Two really great companies right here. John Humiston, if you own a property and you need to do radon mitigation services, either you're buying or you're getting ready to sell, and you need radon mitigation services done, John's in the Denver metro, very great. He's great at what he does, a consummate professional, is always busy, but if you contact him and you mention my name, he might be able to bump you up on the list a little bit. And then finally, Eaton Paint and Body, my besties, Valerie and Kyle Cook here in Eaton, run a highly reputable and well-respected paintless dent repair service. They service all of Northern Colorado, but they are based out of Eaton. And again, they've been supporting my work for years, and I just can't say enough good things about them as well. So if you need PDR services in Weld County, specifically in Eaton, Valerie, Kyle, nobody better. And these are just some of the amazing sponsors that support my work. So to all of you that sponsor me, subscribe, and donate, I love you. Thank you. You're the lifeblood of all the work that I do on my page. And I'm so grateful I get to do this for a living. I mean, I have a piece of paper that says I get to, but that doesn't guarantee that I get to. It takes a lot of hard work, and some of these people definitely notice all the hard work and are willing to invest in it. So I'm so grateful. Now let's get to the details, shall we? Let's get all the emotional, financial bills out of the way. We got a major winter storm that still remains possible, but there's a lot of discrepancies that still remain. The biggest one by far, no contest, is where is this damn thing going to track? So let's follow the red L real quick. And what it's going to do is it's going to dive south along the Rockies tonight and into the day on Wednesday. It's going to get near the Four Corners. It's going to slam on the brakes. You've ever been in traffic, you're not paying attention, you're texting on your phone when you shouldn't be, and you notice, oh, wow, there's a bumper 5 feet in front of you, and you slam on the brakes. That's what this storm's going to do, and it's going to form a closed low Wednesday and into Thursday, and it's going to track across northern New Mexico. For those of you locals that have lived here long enough, you've heard the term Albuquerque low before. Your ears start to percolate. That's because if it tracks just right, these are the kinds of storms that bring us huge upslope snowstorms in the fall and winter. It's not a foregone conclusion yet. It is not certainty at this point yet, but it is possible. It is still very much in play. So let's discuss the two major differences we're seeing in the models. The GFS, that's just one of many forecast models I like to use to help me put forecasts together for you guys. And I do that every single day. But the GFS is the United States version of the global forecast system that our great US of A government put together. And it's really struggling with this storm right now. I think it's the outlier, but it is outlined in Storm Track number 1. If for some reason the GFS pulled a miracle out of its butthole and it was the one that actually verified, It would be further south and east than what we would need to get a big upslope storm here in Colorado. So that means rainfall and snowfall totals would go down significantly. And the higher amounts would shift into western Kansas, southern Kansas, and getting into the Oklahoma panhandle, and then down eventually into north central Texas. For those of you snur lovers who also want a lot of precipitation, you want storm track number 2. We have a lot more models that are showing storm track number 2 than just the GFS, which is showing storm track number 1. And I'll show you what that looks like in the model evolution here in a second. If we do get storm track number 1, or storm track number 2, I'm sorry, it's a stronger storm. There's significantly more precipitation, and there will be a lot more impacts from snow and rain, and there could be extreme impacts possible. I'll elaborate more here in just a second. This storm is going to come in 3 phases. Those are going to be 3 different phases of spicy. I'm going to take this off for a second, and I want to show you the radar image because phase number 1 is actually in progress. So this is one of the radar apps I like to use the most. I love its resolution and all the details at the surface. This is called Radar Scope. No, I am not. This is not a public endorsement of well, it is technically a public endorsement of Radar Scope, but they do not pay me to say this. I absolutely love this app. It's my favorite, and I do like it a lot. And you can see that as the cold front approaches, we've got snur up on the Continental Divide and the higher elevations of the foothills here in Larimer County, like Rocky Mountain National Park, Red Feather Lakes, and you're starting to see some echoes develop here in Weld County as the cold front approaches. So that means that phase 1 of this storm with the cold front is already in progress, and it is moving our direction, as you can see here. Let me get rid of my ugly face. I'm sorry. And, we can clearly see on the satellite image that the cold front is approaching our area, and hence you're seeing the cloud development here along the front range ahead of it. Just a quick disclaimer, if you're just joining, hello, let me know where you're tuning in from in the comments, and every like, share, and comment helps. That actually helps get me paid, believe it or not. Your likes, shares, and comments help pay me, and then that also helps us to reach more people. So just a quick little disclaimer on how social media algorithms work. They're just interesting, and they're hard to understand, but I've been doing this for a long time. So let's go back to the presentation real quick. So phase 1 currently in progress. This winter storm is going to be impacting us with the cold front first, later this afternoon and into tonight and into the day on Wednesday, and I'll show you the accumulation probabilities for that here in a second. Phase 2 will be when the storm moves into the Four Corners and forms the cutoff low. So when it's down here around the Four Corners and in northern New Mexico, this is the beginning of phase 2, okay? This is medium uncertainty, at least on position. If the track goes more into southern New Mexico versus northern New Mexico, and the storm follows the track of storm track number 1, then amounts are going to go down. That's a very, I don't think that's going to happen, but again, you never know with these storms that are coming off the mountains. It's really hard to predict the future sometimes. But right now, what we're expecting is northern New Mexico rather than southern New Mexico. So that's Thursday and into the day on Friday. And then phase 3 is when the storm moves across northern New Mexico and into far southeast Colorado, western Kansas, and undergoes what we call Lee, Colorado cyclogenesis. Okay, whoa. Pause. Smoke them if you got them. Take a drink. I know, huge scientific mumbo jumbo. Let me make this really easy to understand. Lee, Colorado cyclogenesis is what happens when storms come off the mountains. You ever watched a figure skater before? And she's doing her little twirly thingy? Makes me dizzy. Makes me nauseous just thinking about it. Well, when she brings her arms or his arms in, what happens? They spin faster. Same thing's happening in the atmosphere with this storm. As it moves off the mountains and onto the Front Range and Eastern Plains, it's got more atmosphere to work with now. So you're stretching that column of air, and when you stretch it, it spins faster, like a figure skater on the ice. Whoa! Physics is so damn cool! Okay, so let's break the words apart. Lee, no, not Lee. He's not a person. General Lee, no, that's not him. Lee means the eastward side of the mountains. The leeward side of the mountains is the east side of the Colorado Mountains, the Colorado Rockies. Colorado, it's a state, if you didn't know that. Maybe you should go read a book or Google's free. And then cyclogenesis. Let's break that word up into two pieces. Cyclo, meaning cyclone. Genesis, meaning the formation or creation of. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. You have Lee, Colorado cyclogenesis. Take it to the bank. Damn, I'm good. Okay, so now that we know that what Lee, Colorado cyclogenesis is, that is going to make a huge, huge difference on how this storm tracks and how much precipitation we get in here and in what form. And I will show you why here in just a second. And that is a part of phase 3. That's another part of the uncertainty, is how strong does the storm actually get when it moves off the mountains and undergoes cyclogenesis? We don't know yet. That's another thing the GFS is really. Jordan, did I say finger painting? No, I don't think I did. I may need to go back and re-watch this later. I used to work with a guy named Leeward. Pete, no way. That's the cool. You have to share this with him right now. All right. Thank you, Peter. That made me giggle. So if I took all of the forecast model data that I've looked at today and over the last several days, and I threw it in a pot, stirred it up, found an average, and threw it onto a map, these are the possible impacts from snow and wind starting tonight, going through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, we're in this for the long haul, peeps. These are the possible impacts. In southeast Colorado, southern and southeast Colorado, western and southwest Kansas, and far northern and northeast New Mexico, we're looking at potential for extreme. We're talking like total gridlock. You guys remember the March storm in 2020? Well, even going back further than that, the bomb cyclone in 2019, that caused my page to blow up and go viral. The National Guard had to rescue over 1,000 people from their vehicles during that storm. For people that are not prepared or just choose not to heed the warnings, if you're going to try and travel through this storm, which why would you be a dum-dum and do that? But if you, I guess if you want to, meet Jesus or, get a free ride in a cat, go ahead, be my guest. But there is potential for people to get stranded in this storm if you're not taking it seriously. And so the further south and east you travel away from the Front Range, the greater probability, at least for right now. And then obviously those impacts subside gradually the further north and west you travel toward the Front Range. Now, please hear me here. If the track takes, let me go back. If we take track numero dos 2, that means we shift the impacts further north and west toward the Front Range. That's why that's not why I've not been blowing smoke up your butt for the last 2 days. When I say track is everything, I mean track is freaking everything. Okay? So it's not a matter of if we're going to have a storm, it's where. And, in some cases, it's going to be when, as far as the duration is concerned. So I've already showed you the storm on the satellite. It's there. It's real. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of who gets the worst impacts. Those are the questions I'm trying to answer. And I appreciate the grace and the patience you guys have shown me for the most part. But yeah, this one's going to be really, really interesting. Now let's dive into a little bit of the forecast model data, shall we? I'm going to switch gears here real quick and also read some of your comments. Marjorie liked the Jesus comment. I did too. That one makes me giggle. Kimberly's got coffee, supplies, heat, coffee. I do too, sister. And I don't plan on going anywhere because I'm probably going to be working the whole time. Just hope it's gone and sunny by Monday, Rachel. It should be. assuming that we don't get any major wrinkles in the forecast models, which I mean, you never know this time of the year, but I'm watching it closely so that you guys don't have to. Dora, my company makes me travel. And again, I'm not trying to shame people. If you don't have a choice to travel, I certainly have empathy and compassion for you. I really do. You just need to make sure you're prepared. Have an emergency kit in your vehicle, non-perishable food items, a gallon of water, some batteries, a flashlight, some blankets, some snur boots, a couple of changes of clothing, because you never know, and you can only focus on what you have control over, right? So if you have the ability to work from home, do it. My goal is to help take as many people off the roads as possible. And if you're an employer watching this and you have the ability to keep people home, keep them home, for God's sakes. And there's no amount of money anybody on earth will make at their job that is worth risking their life. So, got it? I don't want someone messaging me outing you as a company because you decided to pick profits over people. Don't put me in that position. I will get petty, and I've done it before. Just ask my followers. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't know how the airport's going to react to this. I'm not a travel agent. I'm sorry, I don't work for the airport. Check with your airlines. I do have a lot of employees at DIA that do follow my page, and I'm sure they'll probably comment any operational procedures that DIA is working on ahead of the storm. And I know they're definitely aware of it, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to travel with your airline, the best bet is to check with your airlines. I know many of them. I'm a frequent flyer with United, and they're really good about issuing waivers ahead of time where you can change your flight to another day and waive the change fees. They're usually really, really good about that, issuing travel waivers. And I'm sure the other airlines will follow suit unless they're dum-dums. So I hate autocorrect. Me too. Autocorrect gets me into a lot of trouble sometimes. But, my neurospicy brain, sometimes I just don't care. Put your hands in the like you just don't care. Okay, let's dive into the forecast model data a little bit. I want to show you guys what this looks like. Wow, okay, that looks like a witch threw up. Calm down. This is just one of the forecast models I like to use. This is called the NAM. The NAM is the North American model. It comes in two resolutions, 12 kilometer, which is what we're looking at right now. And then the other one is 3 kilometer, which is a much higher resolution, which allows us to see the finer details at the ground that the other global models like the GFS miss, okay? This goes out to 60 hours. It's usually more accurate than the global models because we have to wait until we're, 2.5 days from the event starting for us to really get an accurate representation of what conditions could look like at the surface. But let me show you what this thing's going to do. And this brand new set of data with the NAM is just now starting to come in. 12Z was incredibly spicy. And we're going to play around with some Snowfall probabilities just for fun. So buckle up. But let's go back to the beginning. And this is basically now. So you can see the snow developing in the Northwest Plateau and in southern Wyoming as the cold front approaches from the northwest. As we go throughout the evening, you will see banded areas of snowfall here in the mountains develop along and behind the cold front underneath the jet. So, there could be moderate to heavy snowfall along and west of the Continental Divide. If you're going over the mountain passes tonight, it's going to be spicy. Berthoud Pass, the Highway 40 corridor going up through, Winter Park, Kremling, Tabernash, and getting into Steamboat. I-70 going through the tunnels down into Silverthorne through Frisco and over Vail Pass and onto the western slopes, spicy. Guanella Pass, Wolf Creek and Levita Pass later tonight, same thing. So if you're doing any traveling west out of the Front Range, whether it's in Colorado or on I-80 in southern Wyoming, like Elk Mountain going through Rawlins to Rock Springs, you're definitely going to want, if you can and you're able to, postpone travel, or you should have already left. It's probably too late for that now. You can also check coloradotrip.org for road conditions and webcams in real time. You just click here on the left-hand side on cameras, and you can literally check conditions in real time anywhere in the freaking state. YORoad.info, similarly, and candrive.gov for Kansas. I'll post all that information later on the page, or you can pause this and rewind it. But you're definitely going to want to bookmark those 3 websites to check on road conditions and webcams in real time. Okay, as we go overnight tonight and into the day on Wednesday, notice, as I mentioned in my forecast this morning and yesterday, we're going to see banded areas of precipitation develop later this afternoon and evening here along the Front Range and Eastern Plains as the cold front moves through. Unfortunately, I think the further north out of Denver you travel, we're going to be dealing with downsloping issues here in Larimer County, Fort Collins. Sorry, don't bitch at me. I have no control over it. Weld County here in Greeley. Hi, I'm suffering with you. Nothing you can do about downsloping winds. I'm sorry. So along and south of I-76, we'll see banded areas of snowfall going down into the Denver metro, up onto the Palmer Divide, and across portions of El Paso and Lincoln County. The funny thing about downsloping in El Paso and Lincoln County is there could be at times very large gradients and accumulation over short distances. Like you start in Monument, you drop down into the north part of Colorado Springs, and you've maybe got 5 or 6 inches of snowfall, but you continue to travel south, and by the time you get to, say, Security Widefield or Fort Carson, it's bare, it's dry. The beauty and the grace, she is Miss United States, of dealing with local microclimates that are influenced by topography. Just one of many complications that I just love to torture myself with. So, going overnight tonight and into the day on Wednesday, things really start to ramp up as this trough digs into the 4 corners, like I showed you guys earlier. Snowfall continues in the mountains, locally heavy at times. The passes are going to be a mess overnight tonight and into the day on Wednesday. And then this is gonna get really, like Dennis Rodman, complicated, starting later in the day on Wednesday and going into the day on Thursday. So just above the ground, we're going to have a 700 millibar low develop here in east central Colorado. Let me change the view on this real quick. This is more of the science. So as this trough moves in, you're going to see a well-pronounced circulation here just above the ground develop at 700 millibars. So we're talking 10,000 feet above the ground. And notice all these wind barbs are pointing directly out of the south. So what's happening is as this storm's developing and winds respond out of the south aloft above the ground, this is advecting moisture into western Kansas and eastern Colorado from the Gulf of Mexico. So you don't have the mountain as a barrier anymore to block anything. We are fair game here along the Front Range and the Eastern Plains for moisture to advect in like a conveyor belt out of the Gulf of Mexico as long as the winds are out of the south. Advection means the transport of air and moisture in a horizontal direction. I love advection. It's different from convection and conduction, but we can get to that later. So we've got winds responding directly out of the south on the NAM. That is a good thing. That is discounting the GFS and labeling it as an outlier, because now we're getting consistent runs of the high resolution model data that are showing, yeah, we are indeed getting this moisture transporting into Kansas and Colorado at 10,000 feet in the air. And if you go down and look at the precipitation type, sure enough, you know, we've got a continuation of precipitation from the cold front today lingering into tomorrow. And that's before we even get cyclogenesis Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday. So that's why we're getting different phases of this storm. And if it tracks just right, some of you are going to get crushed. Let's go to the comments real quick. Michael Clark, thank you for all your hard work. It is my absolute pleasure. I love doing this for a living every single day. David Kistner, best precipitation forecast. Yeah, the NAM usually does a pretty good job because it is a high resolution model. And for those of you that are curious, which global model is more consistent? It's definitely the Euro, especially in cold weather environments. The Euro handles snowstorms much better than the GFS does. The GFS is all over the damn place. And it really doesn't surprise me because this happened with the bomb cyclone in 2019 and it happened with our big March snowstorm in 2021. If you guys remember that, if you followed me long enough, the GFS was off its rocker, and it was like forecasting temperatures in the 50s with rain along the Front Range during that winter storm. And of course, that was not the case because Denver got 27 inches of snow. It ended up being the fourth biggest snowfall on record dating back to the 1870s. So the GFS was wrongo, and it is wrongo again. So I'm not even going to show you it because it's an outlier at this point. So this is, you guys can still see it. Again, this is Denver right here where my box is for you geographically challenged little chicken nuggets. This is Kansas, Nebraska, Wyoming, Western Colorado, Northern New Mexico, the panhandles of Oklahoma, and North Central Texas. You guys got it so far? Okay. This is Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday night. Notice precipitation fairly consistent still. Now notice there's going to be, you notice there's a barrier out here between, or a line that separates rain from snow, from snowfall. That's going to be another complication in this forecast, is somewhere on the eastern plains, there's going to be a rain snow line. One of those situations where you're in St. Francis, Kansas, and it's a cow pissing on a flat rock, but you travel west, and by the time you get to Cheyenne Wells, it's snowing like a bat out of hell. Does it snow like a bat? Do bats out of hell snow? No, probably not. But there could be a difference in 10 to 15 miles could be everything here. And so that's definitely something I need to watch. Like, there are so many complications and variables that'll make your head explode. So when people laugh and say that meteorologists could get their job wrong half the time and still get paid, I just laugh because it's the oldest joke in the book, but you couldn't be farther from the truth. Forecasting in Colorado is one of the most difficult places in the entire world to forecast. And this is one of many reasons why, and I hold my ground pretty well, some of you say. But I love it, and I relish in that challenge. It sure as hell beats forecasting in Florida. Oh, cool. You're going to be hot 8 months out of the year. You're going to be less hot the other 4 months. And then you get sea breeze storms and an occasional hurricane. That's boring to me. It's boring. This is much more exciting because we have mountains. All right, let's go to a few more comments. Katie, will this tropical system, this will not impact our storm at all. This will have nothing to do with our weather here in Colorado. Good question. Stephanie, I'm seeing forecasts. Okay, for those of you that are new, I don't use weather apps. They're garbage. I don't watch the news. It's garbage. I do not pay attention to what other people are saying or doing. It's just too much of a distraction. So please do not send me links to articles or links to your apps asking me if it's right or not, because all you're going to do is catch shit from me, and you're going to learn the hard way that that's not how we do things around here. I am an independent meteorologist. I do not work for the government. I do not work for the news. I am a one-person show, and it's going to stay that way. And I just tend to put the horse blinders on and I think I'm having a stroke. To it, you guys who have energy drinks or coffee or wine, it's too early for me for wine. I need to. I just spilled everywhere. Sorry. Hold on. Pause. Okay. Cheers to all of you guys. And cheers to everybody who voted today. No political comments. Keep it off my page. Can you guys help me? Where the hell was I at? I need my own app, Tina says. Give me about 18 months and $50,000, and I might be able to get a generic app launched and up and running. Okay. It's election day. Is it too early for wine? Jessica, bestie, no, it is not too early for wine. Cheers. I have a lot of you asking how to donate. Thank you so much. I have a website that Sandy Mays and the wonderful folks at the Mays Agency built for me. So if you're not on social media as much, I post my forecast information here on this website as well. If you want to learn more about who Cody the Weather Guy is, you can go to the About Me page. Today's forecast, I also do weather information for the Treasure Valley around Boise, Idaho. That's where I was born and raised. Go Broncos. You can learn more about all my business sponsors on the Idaho side and the Colorado side. And then if you click on advertising, if you're interested in being a business sponsor, there's some information here on the advertising page about how much it costs, different benefits associated with it. So you can shoot me an email or shoot me a message and figure that out. But also, if you scroll down, I think I might be on the wrong. Oh yeah, under site sponsors, click on donate. These are the main 3 ways that I accept donations. So for anybody that wants to, you certainly do not have to. But if you want to donate to my coffee and wine fund, this is the 3 ways that you do it. codytheweatherguy.com/donate/thank you for your question. I really greatly appreciate that. All right, back to the NAM and some of your comments. Paulie, beer for you. I agree with that statement as well. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. So Ryan signed up for emails. That a boy. I love sending those out early in the morning along with my really stupid dad jokes. Okay, so this is overnight and into the day on Thursday. Now, this is where science gets a lot of fun. So let's go back to the upper air chart. Notice here in the Four Corners region, we're starting to form that closed low. And winds respond by coming out of the south and the east, and you're going to see upslope kick in with this Albuquerque low as it moves into northern New Mexico. This is where this gets a lot of fun. Now, this is assuming, keep in mind, that the NAM verifies. We still don't know exactly where this is going to track yet. We know this is going to be a significant storm for, we just don't know for who yet. But if the NAM verifies, this is what's happening. The upslope starts kicking in as we get the closed low, and overnight Wednesday into Thursday, you see precipitation just blossom and explode overnight and into the day on Thursday. And notice that rain snow line. You know, this is around Lamar and Springfield. You know, it could be cow pissing on a flat rock in Lamar, but it's snurring basketballs here in La Junta and Los Animas. This, again, if the NAM verifies, and I kind of have a suspicion and I kind of have a feeling that's going to be one of the parts of my forecast I'm going to struggle with, is trying to figure out where the rain snow line is going to be. This is through the day on Thursday. Now we're really starting to cook with gas. So let's go back to the upper air chart, wind speed. Here's your closed low right here. Winds are screaming out of the south. So we're getting that moisture advection from the Gulf of Mexico. That's at 500 millibars. That's much higher in elevation than the 700 millibar chart. So we're like 15, 20,000 feet in the air. But at 10,000 feet above the air, winds are screaming out of the southeast. And notice here in the Denver metro, they're directly out of the east. So if you don't want topography downsloping in the donut hole in Pueblo, here in northern Colorado, in Greeley, in Larimer County, off the Cheyenne Ridge, there's one wind direction that benefits everybody, and it's out of the east. East means upslope. Why? The air is blowing up against the mountains, and the only direction it can go is up. Now, as it ascends, have you ever tried walking up a hill with a 100-pound backpack on your shoulders? I have. It sucks. And the higher up you go, it seems like that gets heavier and heavier and heavier, and all you want to do is take the damn backpack off. That's what's happening with clouds in the atmosphere. When you push a bunch of saturated air up against the mountains, it can only climb so high before it gets too heavy, and then it needs to shuck the backpack, like, get the hell off my shoulders. And so it's like wringing out a sponge with this upslope flow. And that could be this scenario with the NAM, but we're also seeing it in the Euro and its ensemble and a good chunk of the other medium and high resolution models. And the GFS is just off drunk partying somewhere and just doesn't really care. So it's really cool seeing the science. And then you go back to the precipitation map and it pretty much verifies the science that you're talking about. So now we're going through the day on Thursday. I know this is going long, guys. I appreciate your patience. There's a lot of good information here I want you to get. And of course, this is being recorded, so you can go back. Oh, Kara wants to ask what the minimum to maximum range is. This is going to be stupid. You'll see it in a minute. This is through the day on Thursday. Now we're going Thursday night and into the day on Friday. And now we're Not all of the data with the latest round of NAM, the NAM data has come in yet. We're at about 75%, as you can see. But let's look at where the wind is at. There's your low right there, right over Albuquerque. It's taking a right turn at Albuquerque, and notice the winds are screaming out of the south and the southeast. And you go to the 700 millibar chart, and this is where the storm starts undergoing cyclogenesis. This is phase 3. It's now starting to come off the mountains. So let's go back to 12Z, which was this morning, and show you what happens with the storm during phase 3. This is overnight Thursday and into Friday. And notice the dry slot right here. This is very common with storms that undergo cyclogenesis as they move on to the eastern plains. Out ahead of it in the warm sector, they're probably going to have strong to severe thunderstorms in eastern Kansas on Friday and into Saturday in eastern portions of Oklahoma, going into Missouri. This is the warm front right here, lifting into central and eastern Nebraska. There could be some heavy rain and embedded thunderstorms with the warm front as this storm strengthens, undergoes cyclogenesis, and lifts northeast out of New Mexico and into far southeast Colorado and far southwest Kansas. And we're getting the cold side, the deformation zone, what we call the trowel, which is a trough of warm air aloft, another cool part of science. Let's go back to 500 millibars. The winds are screaming out of the south. So there's much warmer air is being pumped into the storm along with moisture advection from the Gulf of Mexico. And so that is creating a temperature inversion of warmer air aloft. And that can focus a really, I don't want to get super duper uber complicated, but this helps with dendritic growth and forming snowflakes in the atmosphere. And that all gets wrapped into the storm circulation and it gets slammed into the front range. Notice those darker shades of blue? That's the trowel. That's the deformation zone. That's all of that moisture being pulled into the storm from the Gulf of Mexico, and the storm is just vomiting on the front range. That's exactly what's happening here. You guys want to see some of the snow totals the NAM's spitting out? I don't know if you guys are ready for this. Okay. I'll get to that in a second. But first, how much snow are we expecting with the cold front tonight and tomorrow? Again, northern Colorado, trace to an inch, maybe 2 on the lower probability. Notice the totals go up, 1, as you go into the mountains, but 2, Denver Metro, Palmer Divide, northern half of El Paso and Lincoln County. You guys saw my probabilities in my forecast this morning and again yesterday. And then I had a red oval circle shaped thingy outlining a low to medium probability that 6 to 12 inches could fall here in far northeast Colorado, northwest Kansas, and the far southwest portions of Nebraska. And that's for the cold front. That's for phase 1. Okay, that's just for phase 1. But let's look at, just for funsies, how much total precipitation, how much total snowfall precipitation, or how much total snowfall accumulation is the NAM showing us? That's for 18Z too. So this is 12Z. So that's this morning. If the NAM verifies, look at some of these numbers. This is Washington County around Akron, 41 inches. 31, 41, 35, 42, at 2 to 3 feet. DIA, eastern portions of the Denver Metro, 1 to 2 feet along the Palmer Divide. Now, that's assuming the NAM verifies. If you go to the GFS, which is drunk, you will see how dramatically different, if it would have just stayed in Colorado like I asked it to. Rude. Let's go to the total amounts. GFS is way different. It keeps a bullseye of really heavy snowfall in southern Colorado, and there's a weird ribbon of snowfall here, but look how much different it is than the NAM. So you compare all the forecast model data to see what's the same, what's different, and then you discard the outlier. And this is why I believe the GFS is the outlier. So let's look at the Euro now. The Euro is much more in line with the NAM. Look at some of these snowfall totals with the Euro, 2 to 3 feet. And again, it favors the southern half of Colorado and the southeast plains. But I emphasize here, we don't know what the exact storm track is, right? Okay. But these are some of the possibilities. These are some of the low, medium snowfall probabilities, and we're talking about feet. So if you're on the far eastern plains, if you're in western Kansas, depending on which side of the rain snow line you're on, there's going to be major impacts from this. So over the next couple of days, once the cold front has passed through and we've finished with phase 1, then it's a matter of figuring out where's the storm going to track and how strong is it going to be. And, if it's as strong as some of the models are saying, and if it tracks in the sweet spot, which the NAM says it's doing, we're going to be dealing with a crazy November snowstorm here. We haven't seen potentially a storm like this since 1946. That's the November snowfall record in Denver is way back in 1946. And I think it's 31 inches, 28 to 31. I would have to go back and look, but so that's 12Z with the NAM, and now we're finished with 18Z, and it's 18Z is damn near identical. If actually we're seeing a little bit of a difference with the 18Z run of the NAM. Maybe some of you notice what the difference is. I'm going to go back and forth for a second. You guys comment and tell me what the big difference is between this morning's run and the run that just came in. Here's 12. Here's 18. Class, what's the big difference? Here's this morning. This is Denver right here for you geographically challenged little chicken nuggets. Okay. That's this morning. Here's 18. That just came in. This morning, 18. What's the big difference? Can you guys tell me what it is? Gina, nailed it. Well done. Gold star, sister. The low is further west, which means, let's look at the accumulation. We move the heavier snow into the front range. Oh, this storm is giving me fits. Gosh dang. So now let's go let's go back to the NAM, 12K. This is 18. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I usually don't. Actually, I do cuss a lot. I'm not sorry. So the 18Z of the NAM just took the heaviest core of precipitation with the trowel that I just talked about and has moved it west. Here's the difference. There's 18Z. The heaviest snow is on the far eastern plains. The latest run that just came in, it has shifted further west towards the front range. Okay. We're going on an hour here. I know I'm a talker. I'm sorry. So listen to me very, very carefully. Phase 1 comes in tonight with the cold front and into tomorrow. Light to moderate snowfall amounts. It's already ongoing in the mountains. If you do not have to travel, don't. But if you do have to, make sure you're prepared, okay? Wednesday and into Thursday, we form the closed low. It starts meandering into northern New Mexico. We'll probably see snow off and on along the Front Range and the eastern plains, as well as into the mountains, especially along and east of the Continental Divide and into the foothills. And then once this storm undergoes cyclogenesis and strengthens, moving out of Albuquerque and into northeast New Mexico, far southeast Colorado, and far southwest Kansas, it strengthens. And the law of conservation of angular momentum, here's another cool science lesson. You guys ever spun a top? on a table before and he spun it in the counterclockwise direction? Do you guys remember what the general direction of travel is with the top while it's spinning on a table? It's towards, it's like its tendency is to turn left. So you spin the top on the table really fast, and its tendency is to travel left. So it makes the, this is, my screen is not mirrored correctly. That is the course of travel that it takes. That is because of the law of conservation of angular momentum. So that's why I think this is going to take a more southern or a more northern track slamming us versus a more southern track, partially because of the law of conservation of angular momentum. The storm's tendency is to want to turn left, and so it will take a more northern track. And I think the NAM is spot on with this. And I think the Euro, even though its snowfall totals are less, and I'll show you that right here. You know, even though its snowfall totals are less, it's generally taking a similar track that the NAM is taking. Here's one more thing I'll highlight, and then I'll let you guys go. Is the NAM going to verify and we're going to get 4 feet of snow? I don't know yet. It's possible. It's a low to medium probability at this point, but it is possible. Is the GFS off its rocker and doesn't know what it's talking about? Probably. So you've got the GFS on the very, very low end. You've got the ridiculous NAM popping off on the high end, and then you've got the Euro somewhere in the middle. My gut, my tendency right now, until proven otherwise, is to take a blend of all of them. And this is what you're looking at right here. This is a blend of all the models through Saturday. And if the storm verified based on the current forecast model data that we're looking at right now, these are the potential amounts that we're looking at. And is this going to change? Yes, of course it's going to change. That's why I do nowcasting updates all the time. That's why I update you in real time throughout the duration of the storm, because it needs to be done that way. And I'm also doing this in probabilities because it needs to be done that way. There's way too much uncertainty to do a raw deterministic forecast. Is 15 inches going to fall in Denver? Probably not. It could be more than that. It could be less. But you'll get the probability so that you're prepared and not surprised. And again, I think the national blend of models, there's a little bit of bias, and so it's missing a lot of the accumulation that it's going to occur here on the Eastern Plains. So don't take this as gospel. This is not a forecast. Calm down. I'm just showing you what's possible, okay? Kelly's asking if this video is going to be on the website. Unfortunately, no, I don't know how to do that yet. It's all a work in progress. It's a great question. I appreciate the question, but unfortunately, this is only going to be available on Facebook, but it will also be available on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. I don't use it very often. I don't know why I typed in YouTube TV, but I do have a YouTube channel that I do stream on. If I can, where the hell is the search bar? I'm not paying for sorry, bear with me. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to let you guys go. Cody the Weather. Am I on YouTube TV? Yes, I am. Sorry. Hold on. Bear with me. I'm trying to give you another option. Cody the Weather Guy. There we go. Here we go. I think that's right. Okay. Yeah, here's my YouTube channel. Like I said, I don't use it a lot, but I do use it to stream videos like this live video that you're seeing right now. So if you go to youtube.com/ Cody _the_, I know it's Cody the Weather Guy was used for some dumb reason. So if you want to copy that URL or write it down, this live video will be posted on YouTube and you'll be able to watch it when we're done. Okay. So if you don't want to be on Facebook all the time, YouTube is definitely one of those options as well, even though I don't use YouTube very often. And you can also download the live as well, which is also correct. I forgot about that as well. So yeah, this is going to be bonkers, guys. and I will update you through all of it like I always do. So just be patient with me and show me some grace while I try and figure out what the hell this storm is going to do. I'm here on the book face, Denver and Front Range Weather, CodyTheWeatherGuy.com. I am also on Instagram and Twitter at Cody the Weather Guy as well, the same handle. But this is going to cause me a lot of stress, and I can't wait. It's going to be fun. So cheers to all of you guys. Start planning now. Hope for the best, plan for the worst, and that is certainly going to change depending on who you ask. But I will do my best to make sure that you guys don't have any surprises. So one last comment I'll read. Chris, I see a lot of future I talked about that several times, Chris, in my previous update. It has everything to do with track. So, let's go back to the NAM real quick. Where is the NAM? Right here. So in order for us here along the Front Range to get slammed with upslope, this storm needs to track in the sweet spot. And the sweet spot is southeast Colorado into southwest Kansas. And on the latest run of the NAM, the 18Z run, that is exactly what's happening. You can see the 500 millibar winds aloft are screaming out of the east. Go to 700 millibars, about 10,000 feet off the ground, and they're also out of the east. So we need a east wind for a deep upslope snowstorm, and the way you get that is with the storm tracking in far southeast Colorado, an Albuquerque low that moves out of Albuquerque into northeast New Mexico, southeast Colorado, and western portions of Kansas. That is the ideal track or scenario you want this storm to take for us to get a big upslope snowstorm here along the Front Range, and we don't have to worry about downsloping. That's why I've hammered the last 3 days. Track is everything. Okay? I appreciate you guys so much. It's been almost an hour. I'm going to stop talking and enjoy my energy drink. You guys be safe, stay healthy, take care of each other. Don't be dum-dums. Thank you, sponsors, for your financial support. Thank you guys for your subscriptions and your donations. It really gives me life, and I love doing this for a living, and I really hope it adds value to your life. So buckle up. This is going to be a fun ride, but I will keep you guys updated through all of it, okay? All right. Okay, great. Thanks. Bye. And I forgot how to end my stream.